I don't think I see them nicely. If I can push my chair just a bit. Oh, yes, thank you. I want to see both my beautiful ladies. Guys, Empower said queens, unless the men were afraid of this topic. What? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm a runner. I run for men's mental health, and I know that it is the most difficult conversation to have with men to say, men, take care of yourself. But we have seen that a lot of men have been taking their lives. They are the first people to hang themselves when it's tough. They are the first people to drop the ball when they feel like it's not happening. But us as women, we work on corridors and we talk about it. So I've got a doctor here and I've got a specialist, somebody who works with young people in the university industries on the health and wellness, which is Utobekile on my right-hand side. Mama, your surname? Hey, we struggle to say it, it's finger. But yeah, so Tobekile, I'm going to have just a dialogue with everybody. But the aim and purpose of today is for us to be very direct with the young people. It's for us to give somebody who's sitting there who says, I was once like you, Busi. How did you make it? How did you push through the odds and decided to push and be who you are today? So my first question for you, Mama, is, or before I do that, you can just introduce yourself so that they hear your voice. Hello to everybody.
Molweni, Dumelang.
How? That's done. That time you work with young people.
It's nice to be here. Kumandi kubalapha. I'm so excited to be unpacking a topic on mental health. And often mental health, we make it such a difficult topic. And I always say when I have an opportunity to speak to young people, this is how I start my conversation. We are all mentally unstable in this room until proven otherwise, right? We are all mentally unstable until proven otherwise. And the psychiatrist perhaps will say, is it diagnosed? I'm not diagnosing anyone, but here's what I'm saying. Each one of us, when we entered this room, there's one or two things that we are worrying about. The difference between myself and someone who has a disorder, or a mental health disorder, is that it's the severity. Yeah. But I might be sitting there thinking about my young people that are graduating and dying. Have you seen the amount of young people that were meant to graduate and they are just dying? And we need to have that conversation. So I'm saying we're all mentally unstable until proven otherwise, so that it should not be difficult for you to come and have a conversation with a mental health care practitioner. Let's normalize mental health.
Ma'am Tobekile Uti, even the therapist herself is not okay. Ma'am psychiatrist, please introduce yourself to the audience and then we can go on.
Avsheni. Dumelang. Okay, my name is Clementine Chawane and I am a psychiatrist, a mental health advocate and a podcaster, and I will steal that line, you know, to say everyone is mentally unstable until proven otherwise, even though we're not recruiting, you know, because we don't have enough facilities to help. So, but I really love that. So we're here to just chat about mental health, because we understand that if you don't thrive in your mental well-being, you will struggle in other areas of your life. So we appreciate the opportunity to be part of EmpowaYouth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a beautiful platform. Ma'am Toby, my question for you is, so you work in the education and the youth system, you work with young people in the universities. What are the biggest pressures young people are facing that are often not spoken about? I'm sure they are sitting there, they're like, we know, but we don't talk about it. So what are those biggest problems that they're facing, or pressures, but it's not spoken about?
I think maybe let's rephrase that. They are spoken about, but we don't speak about them enough. So one, they are intersecting. So we know that the biggest one is the financial strain. We all sitting here with a sense of hopelessness that is within us. I'm looking at the amount of opportunities that are presented here, and here is something that I want to talk about. If these opportunities are presented to people that are broken, do they have the ability physically, emotionally, to take up those opportunities? So we are busy building a master plan, but we are building skills that have people that are broken inside. So what are these intersecting things? Financial, it is an issue. We know that mental health, it is an issue. And you know, one that we often don't talk about is the weighted expectations. And what do I mean by weighted expectation? Each one of us, when you leave home, there is so much expectations from your family in terms of what it is that you need to achieve. There is so much that society expects you to achieve. So young people are living in a society of Instagram where other people are posting and cruising in life, and I'm sitting here, I feel like I'm not moving anywhere. So social media is good, but social media at the same time, it has created a scenario where people are constantly looking at themselves and feeling like there is no hope. And in actual fact, we really need to talk about mental health and say there is hope. Can we begin to build skills for young people to cope with that hopelessness? Because what it does, it says, I am nothing. And then once you then have a mental disorder, it even goes further and worse. It says you are actually nothing. And I really want to say to young people today, you are not your depression, right? Can we say it together? You are not your depression. You are not your anxiety. It is something that you're living with, and you need to make sure that you don't take it up. Don't absorb it, because the minute you absorb it, it is going to incapacitate you to think and see opportunities that are in front of you.
I am not my anxiety. When you look at that CV and you want to press send, what do you say to yourself? I am not my anxiety. Because the anxiety is the one that says, don't send it. It's not good enough. You don't have much skills. You haven't done anything. They're not going to employ you. That's anxiety. I am not my anxiety. Dr. Clementine, my question for you is very simple. I'm looking at the room full of young people, meaning these are all unemployed young people. Others are graduates. Can I see the graduates? The ones that went and did the degree, got it. You see, they are sitting there with stresses, frustrations, depression. They're feeling hopeless, very emotional. So my question for you is, what is happening in the mental and emotional lives of these people today, especially those that have these pressures that you see in your office? What's the niche? What's happening with their mental health?
All right. Thank you so much for that question. So yeah, it is true that in South Africa we are facing an unemployment crisis, and young people seem to be the most affected age group. And you know, from a psychological point of view, we're saying that your identity develops when you are a young person. And so part of the development is that you must feel like you are part of something. You must feel like you are going to make a difference in the world. And so when those opportunities are taken away from you or they're not granted to you, even though you have followed suit, you know, you have worked hard, you have done everything that they said you should do, and then now you are faced with unemployment, with expectations from your parents to go look for a job, with the need to want to gain some independence. So all that can be very overwhelming for a young person. And so what happens is that a lot of young people that are coming to us, they're just starting to feel useless, right? They're feeling useless, they're feeling hopeless, they're feeling like nobody cares about them. So they are externalizing the unemployment rate that is nationwide and make it personal. So it means somebody doesn't want to employ me. It means I am not good enough. And so you don't see it as a national crisis, you start seeing it as a personal crisis. And so it affects your self-esteem, it affects your motivation, it affects, you know, just everything about life. And what we're seeing is that now people are trying to compensate for these emotions that are overwhelming. They're trying to cope, and so they go to self-harming behavior. And self-harming behavior includes substance use. A lot of young people now are using a lot of substances. We're diagnosing a lot of young people with alcoholism, or what we call alcohol use disorder. And another substance that is mostly abused as well is the dacha, the weed, Mary J, whatever you call her, right? She is becoming a huge problem. And most of the young people, as young as 15, 16, when you speak to them and say, why are you doing this? They know it is wrong, but they feel like life is stressing, life is overwhelming, and so they're using this to numb their emotions, and it does cause a damage into their brain. So we acknowledge that you are stressed, we acknowledge that things look hopeless, but that's why we're here, is to encourage you to say there is hope on the other side of your patience and your resilience, and appreciate these opportunities to just handle it a little bit longer so that you can see the breakthrough that you've been working hard for.
Doc, thank you so much. I want to come back to you, and something that I want you to think of. Young people are tired. They're very tired. They literally, you wake up and you look at this house and you're like, I cannot do this. I'm drained. I've been trying and trying and pushing. Nothing is working. So a question that I have for you is, what should these young people do to connect with their mental health so that their tired is not draining them? They are able to wake up and still push and achieve this. Because if you feel you want to drink, I mean, if it's Savannah, Frigini, and there's nothing else, I'm going to go for the Savannah. Because there's no food, but the only thing that's there in the fridge is what I can afford. But young people, yegen Savannah. Mr. Begin. My question for you is, how are these pressures that young people are facing, especially in their studying, they're trying to work, trying to make a decision about life. I'm growing, I've got kids, I don't have money, I'm creating families. So how are these pressures showing up in the real life of these young people? Because they are young now, but tomorrow they are us. And we want them to understand, if they're not taking care of their mental health, how are these pressures showing up in their reality of life?
You can start, Doc.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing is, I wish I could give you a bandage answer that will make you feel better, you know, but I have been thinking about this. I've actually been praying about this, you know, because you guys really matter, and we understand that you are so discouraged. And for me, what I want to say is that, you know, for us as South Africans, especially as Black South Africans, we're going through transformation, you know, and I want to say that your parents faced a monster of hopelessness, you know, before democracy. And of course, now the monster is shaped in democracy that promised convenience and empowerment, and we're not seeing that. But if we can look at us, all of us have had our struggles, and yet we just kept persisting. So my thing is that please just hold on to life. You know, I was reading a scripture, and the Bible says that Jesus was walking, and he looked at people, and the Bible says that he was moved with compassion. And he said, the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. And I just want to tell you that the opportunities are plenty. All right, they might not be presenting to you, to your doorway, but there are a lot of opportunities. There are people that every single day are trying to find a way to try and help you be strong, and for you to get the answered prayer, for you to get the job that you need. So I'm just asking you to stay hopeful. All right, stay hopeful. Don't isolate yourself. Speak to other people and realize that it's not a personal thing that you're going through, that other people are going through. Be part of the community that is trying to really good and healthy behavior. Be part of the church, be part of the soccer club, a netball club, whatever it is that can keep you preoccupied so that you are not always isolated. But I just want to say, please, let's hold on to hope. That's the only thing I can give you.
Sure. Just hold on to hope. Hold on to hope.
So how these presents themselves, they may not present themselves the same way from one person to the other. People are different, people respond differently, and they present themselves through burnout. they present themselves through stress. In higher education, they present themselves by the number of students coming in the student support system requesting for sick notes that they are not ready to write exams. So you can't just make a general statement and say this is how they present themselves. But I think we really must emphasize that it is important to have a support system. We grew up in an era where it was said it takes a village to raise a child. But you must be a child that is willing to be raised. Because again, we are living with young people, and we lived in a community where each and every adult that was around you was an adult, and that person, if there was something wrong that you were doing, they felt that they needed to contribute and to say something. So there are certain things that really that were working, and those things have fallen away. If you look at the number of first-year students that are dropping out, it's about 40 to 60% of young people in these countries that are first year that are dropping out. What is an indication? And we can clearly say, number of studies have shown they are not dropping out because they are not academically fit to be able to do so. They are failing because where are we in the University of Wits? Is same race, different starting lines. I come, Kitswa Mtata, which is extremely rural. You come from Senton, you come from wherever. We are both at Wits studying for the same thing. You've got a laptop. I'm seeing a laptop for the first time in university. So it's just understanding that it's the same race, but our starting points are different. And when your starting point is different, it is important for you to have a network of support system. Because without that support system, it's going to be difficult. And we've seen that those young people that have a support system, their academic performance, it does make a difference. It shows that they have a system in place. So a system may not be your family member. It may be a church. It may be, there are so many things that happens in university or TVET college, even in our community, where we are not willing to volunteer. And I just want to tell something about hopelessness. I completed my first 2 degrees and I was unemployed for 3 years. It took me going into the nearest organization and volunteering for about a year, and I was then employed by the Department of Health. The culture of volunteerism has died. People want, we want fast things. If it does not come fast enough, if it doesn't get me to be on a plane like anybody else, then it's not what I'm looking for. I think as young people, we need to understand that patience is virtue. And we need to volunteer. I was really looking at the number of young people that are in this room wearing the t-shirts, study volunteerism. You come here, you are wearing that t-shirt, you are volunteering. Au spinki akatang hutloa staging monana. Abau sheba abare ua sebetsa he hake sebetsa me volunteer. Come, I have a space somewhere. Lintate we say you are a walking CV. I think as young people, we really, as much as there is hopelessness, but there are so many things that we can do in our community, whether kekerekeng, whether it is in university or wherever you are, find opportunities, even if it's gonna start with you volunteering and not starting getting that employment first.
Sure. Powerful, powerful, very powerful. It seems like you guys are just repeating my life. After high school in 2004, 5, somewhere there, you guys must not guess my age. I volunteered for a full year at an NGO where I wanted to understand children living without parents, orphans, it's called OVC, and people living with HIV and AIDS. And for the full year when I volunteered, that's when I discovered my purpose and vision to say, this is who I want to be. This is the journey in life I want to travel, becoming somebody that helps other people. And my dad said, what is your motto in life? And I said, I don't know. And he looked at me in my face and he said, your life is dedicated in helping others reach your potential. That is why I'm sitting here today to say my life is dedicated in helping all of you to reach your highest potential so that you can be the best version for yourself. Last questions before we close it off. It's gonna be lunchtime and Mina and food. We like this. They didn't say we're going to eat. I'm just thinking one, it's normally lunchtime. So Doc, last question. This one is very important and I want everybody in the room to listen to this question that I'm about to ask Doc, so that you take something home, so that when you feel drained, when you feel broken, when you feel there's no hope, when you feel I can't move, when you feel there's nothing I can do by myself, you take these words from Doc. How can young people prioritize their mental health without taking medication or without breaking to the point of being medicated? Because you're a psychiatrist, so I believe that in your practice, you give medication, suppressants, all the names that they know. But how can young people prevent that? How must they prioritize their mental health?
Thank you for that. So it is true that not all mental illness is necessarily preventable, but there are a lot of other mental illnesses that we can prevent, including depression, anxiety, substance, suicide. Some of the stuff, unfortunately, is just too much genetics that it's difficult to say we can prevent it, but at least we can delay when it presents. And so when we say mental health, we're saying that you must look at your emotional regulation, you must look at your thinking pattern and your behavior. So those are the three things that we look at when we're seeing people. And so for young people, a lot of young people, like I said, by default, are using a lot of substances. And substances compromises your mental well-being. Number one, we don't have money. And the thing about it is that South Africa is #1 for alcohol use in the world. So we are in serious trouble. And we do not have facilities to help people. I work in private. And in private, which services about 20% of the population, we are full. All right? And so we want you guys to take precaution, all right? And say, I am not going to take anything that is going to damage my brain. Yeah. You know, another thing is that I want you to watch the conversation that you as an individual have with yourself, all right? A lot of us are our worst critics. We're always criticizing ourselves. When we see hopelessness, we internalize it. I am nothing, I will not amount to anything. So watch what you are saying to yourself. Try and find something positive to say. Even on TikTok or all social media platforms, there are affirmations that you can say on a daily basis that can help you start seeing yourself in a different way. The Bible says that faith comes by hearing. So sometimes when you hear things, you start believing those things because you're saying it so many times. And like I said, is that remain part of community, all right? So one of the things is that depression and anxiety isolates you from the world. It makes you feel like nobody cares. It makes you feel like you are alone. And then when you are feeling alone, that's when the thoughts of suicide comes, all right? And you don't have anyone to just say, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling hopeless, I sometimes feel like killing myself. And so that we can be able to have somebody hold your hand and help you through it. And like we said, with the church has a very important role because a lot of people will rather come to the pastor than to go see a psychiatrist, you know. And so sometimes the church are the ones that demonizes mental illness. When people are feeling depressed, we say that we're gonna cast out the demon. You know, we don't want to sit and listen. When someone has diabetes, we empathize with them. But when someone says, I have a mental illness, I'm feeling suicidal, we want to cast the devil out. And then people leave the church feeling hurt because my reality says I'm hopeless and I don't see a way out. And the pastor that I thought was going to encourage me is calling me demon-possessed. You know, so we also must be careful with the language that we speak. So even us as community, when we refer to people with mental illness as mad people or bayahlanya, all those things, we are discouraging people from seeking help. And therefore, suicide is the 4th cause of death amongst young people from the age of 16 to 26 worldwide. So that is very, very concerning. And mental health is now a #1 crisis according to the World Health Organization. It has taken over cancer. So we are in a crisis, we're in a pandemic. So make sure that you look after your sanity. I always say that sanity is a gift, but it's a very fragile gift. And if you lose it, it becomes very, very difficult to get it back. So do everything you can to protect your mind, because out of it flows issues of life. Thank you so much.
Doc, thank you. Thank you so much. Toby, maybe your last words as well. If one person is sitting in this room, they're listening to us talking about wellness, mental health, physical health, everything that has to do with just wellness, and they feel overwhelmed, and they hear us, but they still leave this room feeling like, yo, Yazin, you just triggered so much. You're just overwhelming me. In fact, living here, I feel like I am actually drained and tired. I don't even know what to do, where to go. What would you say to that young person so that everybody that leaves this room today, they don't just take away the drainage, they don't just take away the tiredness and the understanding that we are all mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, everything with a wally tired. What would you say to that young person so that they take this good thing from this session?
So I'm going to say it in this manner. Who knows the song by La Bianca? People, I've been drinking alcohol for the past 5 days. Did you check on me? I walk in the room, my eyes are red, but I don't smoke banga. I think that song for me really unpacks the heaviness that young people are feeling. And here is my parting shots. Check on each other. The fact that you see me with my eyes are red, you see me like I'm confused, it might not be that I'm on a substance. It just might be I'm so overwhelmed that everything has become, and it feels like I'm in a state of hopelessness. Check on each other. It is important to checking on each other. There are basic things like you can do when you are feeling overwhelmed. Walk barefooted. How can wa hlobola dieta? Wa tsamaya ka maoto on top of the grass. That feeling, it makes all the difference in the world. We understand that mental health, they say it's expensive because mental health care practitioners are expensive. And Doc was just saying, we should not create demand. I'm actually a community development mental health care practitioner. I demand for people to demand mental health care services. If we are all demanding the services, there's one thing that we are sure it's going to happen. We are going to prevent people being depressed. We know that the number of mental health care practitioners are far less than the burden of the disease itself. But does that mean we are going to sit and wait for us to be depressed and not demand the services? It cannot be. And here's the other thing that I want to say. And I totally do la monate ne, but ke kopa le nke ka moya wa lerato o tlang ka yona. Here is the thing. A lot of us, we find it very easy ho ya ho sangoma, right? What does a sangoma do? O jwetsa bothata bo nang le bona. What is it that we do not want to do? Because when you come to a mental health care practitioner and bully matam, right? And believe you me, I have so much respect with traditional leaders and sangomas, because even the space that we are in higher education, they play a very critical role. We bring them to our space, we train them. Why am I saying this? It is easier who also risang. But I don't want to take the responsibility of saying what it is that I am battling with. Because when you go to the psychiatrist, that's what's going to happen. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. But I am going to give you a basket of menus of saying, I'm listening to you. I'm probably going to paraphrase what you told me. Meaning, I am not taking responsibility for your life. I'm empowering you to make decisions about your life. There was a session, the CEOs, that was done here. Here is what I want to say. There are not 7 CEOs in this room. Each and every person in this
Check,
room,
1, 2.
you are a CEO of your life. You are a CEO of your life. The direction that your life takes, where it goes, it's not dependent on a mental health care practitioner. It's dependent on you making that decision that, like Musa was saying, even when you feel like you don't want to wake up, banabeso, tsoali iketsetseng.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Toby. Is it off? It feels off. Okay, I'll use this one. Thank you so much. And Doc, thank you for the information that you've given everybody. I think now we are about to check in. I think my advice to each and every young person that is sitting in this room, I always say, go check in. Checking in doesn't mean that I'm crazy. Checking in doesn't mean that I'm sick. Checking in says, I want to see if am I okay. I want to check if all the things that I've been through in life, am I okay? I want to understand that when I was raped at the 12 years of age, am I okay as a 35-year-old now? I want to check in that I grew up in so much struggles, am I okay? So don't wait for the breakup point to happen in your life before you check in. Because once you check in and you are broken, you hear nothing. It's like a room full of noise of people talking to one person at the same time. So it's very important to check in. And lastly, please take care of your health. The other day I saw Urorisang running at a treadmill with a pace of 2. I don't know what speed was that she was using that day, but she was running on a treadmill. But take care of your health. Run if you have to. I think we are bringing a beautiful culture of running, coffee runs, wake up, and have a very positive, healthy lifestyle. The only way you can defeat the odds is if you are healthy physically, you are healthy on your mind, and you are healthy emotionally, and you are healthy spiritually, so that you can be able to connect with yourself and your God. Thank you, young people of the Vaal, for welcoming us. Rorisang.
Can we celebrate the queens? You're going to take a picture. Can I give you a hug? How many kilometers do you have? She's judging me for my slow run. Let's give them another round of applause as they take a picture. See you on Thursday. I've been seeing people sit down here, so it's my turn. Is that okay? Is it okay for us to have a conversation? All right. Can we give it up for all our speakers, the lovely 3 ladies? Musa, Abdifusi. We've had some incredible speakers here today. I heard that after I told you about the 50,000, all of you went outside. I'm going to ask you to stay inside the auditorium. We're going to have an opportunity to go outside and interact with all the exhibitions that are there. The exhibitions are closed until that time will come in our program where we have an opportunity to go out. So please make note of some of the things, so that when you do get outside, you've got your questions ready, you've got your 30 seconds elevator pitch. We've heard it so many times today. Make sure that you've got it so that you use it effectively. I've got 2 speakers. I've got a few minutes with them, and I'm going to try to milk out of them as much as we can. Are we in agreement? All right, and I want you to take down notes. I want you to listen carefully. We're speaking about skills that travel. We're also going to be speaking about how to evolve our careers. Why is this important? Times are changing, economies are changing, the world is changing. How do we then position ourselves to be evolving, but to get better as we do it? So I'm going to call out 2 speakers, all the way from TUT, Abdi Tsidiso Mohlomi, to come up on stage. Can we give him a round of applause as he comes? From Facet, we saw them a little bit earlier on. Kikopa Obita, Mama Roti, to come and join us. We're going to have this conversation. Give them a round of applause. Haba Sansaba Atumela. Hello. Just grab your mic there. You getting your iPad? How are you? Let's just take it. Kgotso ntate? Re phetse hantle mnganaka? Re teng. All right. Hangata when we speak about careers and evolving and getting stronger and better, it almost sounds like good English, right? Like we're saying nice things, but in practicality, we don't know what that actually looks like. Ke tlo qala ka wena, Abuti Sidiso. When we speak about traveling skills or skills that travel or evolving of careers, re bua ka eng hantlentle?
I think first we need to get the context.
Yeah.
Especially this morning, there has been a lot of discussions around unemployment. But one of the key issues that we didn't touch on is the issue of unemployability. And
Ke kopa o ntshwarele yona hanyane fela, Abuti Sidiso. All right, family, are we here to get information? I'm asking a question. Are we here to get information? So you have to start the responsibility now. If your neighbor is having a conversation, they're interrupting you to hearing what you came for. Does that make sense? Can we respect the space, respect the speakers, but also respect ourselves that we came all the way to come and get as much as we can get? Are we in agreement? Sharp Fere? Sharp. Abuti Sidiso, you're speaking about the concept. You say a lot of our speakers have touched on
unemployment.
unemployment.
Yes.
What's the issue here at Bay?
The issue that we are having, it's not necessarily unemployment, it's unemployability. Because one of the key problems that we have in South Africa, especially in this hall, and in the universities, in most of the schools that we have young people that would get qualification, and post their qualification, they would struggle to get the jobs. And therefore, there need to be a change in mindset between what we call careers and the skills. Hence, you are then talking about the careers that evolves and skills that moves.
Come on, okay. All right. Quick definition, if we can, maybe before we go to OC, to say, when we're speaking about skills, what are we talking about? When we're speaking about careers, what are we referring to?
So, growing up, for example, the first question that people would ask you, even when you are doing sub-A, not grade 1, would then be, what do you want to be? And I do believe that we would all have a definite answer. One would say, I want to be a doctor. One would want to say, I want to be a police. One would say, I want to be a teacher. And those are careers. And skills is basically the ability to execute the task that you have at hand, and not necessarily at career, but when you talk about the evolving of career, then I will touch on that. So career is basically what you aspire to be, the job that you get after you graduate, if you get it, but skills is actually what makes you a currency.
Sure. So skills give us currency, careers is what we eventually build on top of those skills.
Correct.
I want to come to you and some of the work that you do. We saw a corporate video a little bit earlier on, where we saw some of the work that Facet does. What are some of the opportunities selling for young people who want to gain skills?
Thank you so much, Rosa and Juliana Bosley. I'm going to be a little bit harsh before I actually respond to the question.
Okay.
When the reality is that most of the qualifications that people possess is not necessarily what the economy requires for the purpose of growth. And every sector has got its own skills that are required to actually advance that particular sector to improve the economy of South Africa.
Sure.
And that's the reality on the ground where you see many graduates struggling to find employment
Sure.
because the qualifications that they possess is not necessarily respond to the skill that is required within different sectors.
Yeah.
So from present side, what we normally do is through consultation with the sector to understand what are the required skills that are urgent, as well as the evening skills, meaning the forward skills or foresight skills that will
Sure. You did start harsh. She did, and I'll tell you why I say that, because I think it's not what we want to hear. If you've spent time studying or getting a skill, you don't want to hear that the economy doesn't necessarily prioritize what you have gained. And that's a difficult thing to hear. Then how do we then build skills that speak to the economy, that speak to the needs, that speaks to a thriving opportunity for self, but also a participation that is meaningful in the economy?
One of the key problems that we tend to have within the context of career is what we call job security. And job security basically means tomorrow you might be laid off, and therefore you won't have anything to do. The problem that we are having currently is skill security. And from the university perspective, I come from Tshwane University of Technology. We are then saying, let us make sure that we have the ear in the industry to understand the types of technologies that are there, the impact they have on the current jobs, and the skills that are needed now, and the skills that will be needed in the future. And therefore, what we would then do is we would then look at our curriculum, contextualize it. However, the other aspect that we are then saying to those who are studying, if you are studying social work, yes, after 3 years, you'll get your degree in social work. However, during that 3 years, we are then encouraging you to leverage on micro-credentials. And micro-credentials either in the digital skills or any other skills to make sure that when you leave the university, your degree is not the only letter you have, but other certificates. And as a young person as well, when you are home, one of the critical elements that you also ought to be doing if you are not employed, it's not to sit and moan, but is also to look at what else can I do to make myself employable. That is very critical. And another speaker spoke about the issue around volunteering. One of the key problems that we have is that a lot of people don't want to volunteer. We think that we are educated to make money, but volunteerism would give you the experience that you need, will give you the exposure that you need to be actually where you want to be.
Maybe let's stay there a little bit, because I think oftentimes, particularly in panel settings like this, we'll hear things like volunteering. But the truth is we hear many cases and many stories, if I could call it that, where we hear of people being exploited. So how do we safeguard that I'm volunteering, but I'm not putting myself in a position where I'm being exploited? Because surely there should be a difference. How do we know and tell the difference when this is a good opportunity or I'm just being used here? Am I making sense to somebody? Yeah, so how do we know?
I think one of the things that you must always look into in terms of your career path, or can I say your roadmap, because every individual to a certain extent must have a roadmap in terms of where they envisage themselves to be at. And then the other element for you is to also get yourself a mentor, a person that has been there, who has walked the journey, so that when you enroll in such programs or volunteering for work, there's somebody to basically to guide you in terms of the relevant skills that will add value to you as an individual. Yes, there are some instances where a person might be exploited, but at the same time, I always say that look at the positive side of it to say, what is it that you are trying to get out of the intervention that you have actually put yourself in? That is always very important. And from my side, I always say that I think every person knows their limit in terms of where they're envisaging to go. And by the time you reach that particular element, I believe that you should be able to say, I think I've done my part now. Yes.
So do you feel that once we've gotten our qualifications, and I say this because you stated so beautifully a little bit earlier on, that there's a level of reluctance that once you've gotten a qualification, you are done. The economy is saying the opposite. The socio-economic systems that we find ourselves are saying the difference. You mentioned that if somebody's busy studying, they should go and add on. I want to give an example. When I was studying international relations, I borrowed a textbook from somebody who was studying maybe 3 years or a few years ahead of me, and that textbook was no longer relevant to even the course that I was doing anymore. Are we in trouble? And how do we mitigate?
We are in serious trouble. However, it is important to understand that there are so many opportunities. And we have platforms like your Google, Udemy, and many others that have a lot of courses within the digital skills. It is therefore important that one of the key problems that we have, especially the student that studied humanities like us, I did international relations, is that there are less and less opportunities. And therefore, the urge to reimagine yourself, develop a new identity is imminent. You have to do it. You cannot survive without doing it.
I want to come to you. You train, I saw some of the projects that you have. It's women-facing projects, it's young people-facing projects. When is a good time to start evolving? Let's say a young person is going to leave here and they're going to get a great opportunity. When is a good time, and maybe I'm asking it to both of you, to pivot?
Okay. I think I spoke about the sector skills plan. And that particular document actually changes every year. It changes every year based on what's currently happening, where there are labor trends in the market in terms of where are we moving into. So it's very important that as the youth, we actually familiarize ourselves with the sector skills plan, regardless of the sector, depending on which sector or the sector that you find yourself in. It's very important that you actually engage with that particular document, because that is a critical document for you to actually position yourself. So in terms of the opportunities that are available at Facet, as an example, there are a number of social media platforms where we are actually present, noting that the only way to get to your youth is through social media. So all the social media platforms, we are available. Over and above that, we've got an app called an Adang. An Adang app is basically our learner portal, where a learner actually registers their details, including the profession that they want to join, so that it assists our employers through their recruitment process to say you can utilize this particular database to actually assist the individuals. So the other element that they also need to look at is the short courses. For an example, currently one of the emerging skills in the finance sector is the ESG. But you find that most of the graduates, they've never really had a module in ESG at the university level or higher learning institutions. Then you have to actually capacitate yourself, enroll yourself in those kind of short courses so that you become competitive in the labor market. The other element is the digital skills. Days are gone where an accountant just know how to prepare books and stuff. You need to know how to maneuver around the digital environment, either through the AI that complements the work that you need to do, or even the element of human skills as well. It's the other element that we are actually not spending time on, the soft skills, because our employers are crying about the soft skills that the graduates actually possesses. So we also have that work integrated learning that assists these particular individuals with the soft skills so that they are able to maneuver the working environment.
Let's speak a little bit about soft skills. I'm going to come to you, sir. What do we define as soft skills?
So a soft skills is not necessarily your technical skills, it's about your communication skill, critical thinking, problem-solving skill, and other skills that you cannot necessarily learn from the technicality, more on the human element part of it, the emotional intelligence that comes with it as well. Those are some of the few soft skills that is required from the new entrants when they enter the sectors.
This is where we lie in the CVs. I'm patient, I know how to work with people, I'm punctual, I'm all these things, and then in a real working environment, you're good at what you're doing, but people don't know how to work with you. And oftentimes we overlook that. You treat, but and that's not the case. And many of us miss opportunities because of those small mistakes that we make. When is it a good time for us to start evolving?
I think if there is any time where something is urgent, is now. And I think you have touched also then, because the issue around evolving, we can evolve into anything. But we need to give context of what we evolve in. Now, one of the things that we spoke about are the skills that travel. And that is your passport as an individual over and above your own qualification. I'll make an example. My wife studied social work. She is currently working as an accountant for another company. And what basically helped her was what we call the soft skill. She's somebody who is very detailed, and therefore that assisted her. Now, when we are talking about the skills that travel or this passport that you need, because now careers end, but skills can take you everywhere, because career, your qualification will open a door, but skills will actually open many other doors. And therefore, when we are talking about the skills that travel, we are talking about your cognitive skills. I was speaking to a group of researchers talking about the issue around the artificial intelligence. Most of them are still basically saying you need 10 books to get an abstract of a paragraph. However, I said to them, artificial intelligence is there. We have done the work, we have fed it the data. What we need to have from the perspective of skills that travel is the cognitive skills. And one of them is the critical thinking. We, as managers, people don't want to micromanage you. You need to be able to look at a problem and to be able to solve it. And the other one, we have spoken about the human skills, and we also have spoken about digital and data skills, which would be your digital fluency, data literacy, comfort with AI tools. And the last one is self-management skills. These are very critical. And your adaptability, resilience, initiative, time management, and many of those. Possessing these skills, working on them, would actually assist you to move from one career to another, because then you would have the passport that is required.
You know, as you're saying this, I just want to give you guys an example of what that looks like. I used to host a TV show on Mzansi Insider on SABC1. And in the makeup room, while I was getting my face done, there was a CEO of an organization, maybe as young people you know it. Do you know the organization called YES? Youth Employment Services? And she was sitting next to me getting ready to do her makeup. And I was having a conversation in the room about some of the things that I felt needed to be implemented and placed. If I tell you that 2 weeks later I was hired by YES as one of the communication managers, and I worked with them for over 3 years. But they met me as a TV presenter, but because of human skills, soft skills, and the ability to think and apply myself, even when nobody, you are always being interviewed. So those are some of the things that people are watching, people are listening, and they're trying to see how well you can apply yourself in circumstances. We're almost out of time, but I do want last words from our panelists to you. What is it that we should do today? Today we're going to have an incredible week. Every day is going to have different learnings. But what is it that from this conversation of having skills that travel and careers that evolve, what's the one thing we should do today?
It's a tough one when you say one. But from my side, I will advise to say research your career and align your skills in terms of what the industry requires. Align yourself to the emerging skill, because that also gives you an opportunity for international opportunities that are available out there. I mean, these days you can work for a company in USA while you are in South Africa. So just make sure that you actually familiarize yourself in terms of how the economies are moving, the different opportunities that are available. Just research and find yourself a coach or a mentor. Thanks.
Absolutely. Yes, sir, your words.
I once attended a conference, and so there was excitement. And when I left, my sponsor asked me, what did you think? I said to him, today what I saw was a room full of men on spiritual steroids. What matters is tomorrow when they are by themselves. You are here, you are getting a lot of information. Sometimes it's an information overload. But what will matter is that next year when we meet is what you would have decided to do today, especially to pivot and especially to make sure that you capacitate yourself.
Can we please give our panelists a round of applause? Come on, we could do better than that. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. You can just leave it there. Thank you. Oh, we're going to take a picture. All right, while we take a picture, because pictures are nice, I want you to look at your neighbor and tell them what skill you're going to investigate. So a skill you currently don't have, but you're going to investigate. What skill are you going to go pick up? Maybe it's a short course. Maybe it's YouTube tutorials. But what is it that you're going to intentionally put yourself in the position to do well? Do you have some answers? Is your neighbor answering you? No. Tell that neighbor, I don't say man. Pastor Mpompo guy. Mbombo. How do I say? Popo. Murutu guy. Bisa muruti.
Ule baba sweo.
Give him a round of applause as he comes.
Oivo! Somebody scream! I want you to stand up and say swell. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, young people! Right! Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, no, no. Hey, Wana. I know. Oh, no, no. Yeah. Selector, selector, selector. All right, selector, selector. I need 2 young people. I got a hat. They must compete. I want to give away this hat right now. Wazani, 2 year. Wazan, selector Waza. I got a bucket hat. For 2. It's hot outside. Hey! Wazala. Upo Westmili. Can I have a girl? Waza, run for opportunity. I saw a city 1, 2, 3. What's seven? Hey! Oh no! Hey, wena! Ake sibanye kunomunye osemntanami asibonele ungahambi. Aibo! Oh no! Joy! Achache msimbo qinile.
Keep playing the song, yeah? Keep playing the song, yeah?
Wait! All right. Kimang umakonya. All right. Ngicela number 1. Okay, ubani number 1? Ubani obashaya khanda bonke? This one. Umama. This gentleman. Hey! Thank you so much. Yeah. All right.
Keep going.
What?
Where's Leo?
What's?
No. Where's Leo?
One, two. Hey! Oh no! Are you there, young people? Vaal, scream! What's is that moyen? What's that moyen? Is that moyen? Put your hands in the air! Yay! Put your hands in the air! Oh yo yo, hey yo hi yo yo. Clap your hands for yourself. I want you to tell your neighbor, this is good. I'm inspired. Anguzo, I am inspired. I am connected. I'm getting connected.
I'm getting connected.
And I am definitely transformed.
And I'm definitely transformed.
Put your hands together!
Pastor Popo!
Yes!
I believe Vaal can do better than that. Pastor Popo! That's more like it. For those who don't know my name is Neo. I'm part of the team at EmpowaYouth. We are here to make a good time. So far, how many of you have been inspired? How many are inspired in the room? How many are happy to be here? Sharp. But we will get there. We'll get there. So I'm going to do this. We're going to have a few people that are going to come. This is about opportunities again. It's about plugging into opportunities. So some of the people that will be coming on stage will be linking you up to some of those opportunities that you're looking to have. Moving ahead, can I kindly ask my next speakers? I know there's a lot to say. And with this humble heart, I kindly ask, take 5 to 7, 8 minutes at the most. We really want to make sure that we are able to get everybody to speak. We still have other speakers that you're going to be amazed to see who are going to give you pointers. So for the next speakers, please align with us on that regard. With that said, can I kindly ask to come on stage, Miss Fina Korisang. This is Empower Her, Power, Voice, Choice, and enabling young women to lead, thrive, and transform society. She's the CEO of Soul City Institute, and she's here to plug you. Round of applause for our Fina. Skaba limona, shapa matsogo, Vaal.
Greetings, everyone. Hello. Okay. Greetings, everyone. you? Where are all the young women in the house? Can I see the young women in the house? So young women, there's a sabotage here. When we come to speak to young women, patriarchy says we must take 7 minutes, right? When we were given more minutes. But let's see if we can work with it. So I was asked to speak on the topic that says, you know, we need to transform her. We need to empower her. And she needs to have a voice, right? And many of us as young women show up in spaces already apologetic for existing because society says to us, you can't be seen as a woman. We already come into spaces that judge us for having this badge. You see? When you show it, they are already judging you. Why Anna cellulite? Why is she this big? Why is she all that? But we are not about that. So my story started when I became a mother at the age of 19. And of course, all I was hearing around me is how I am doomed for life. Because here I am, a mother, people were already telling my future, right? Saying she's not going to amount to anything. There's no way she can recover from this. Especially that's the narrative that you will hear about yourself as a young woman. But I'm here, and I hope they have projected my small CV, not to brag, but to encourage a 19-year-old who's carrying a baby today, and the world has said to her, I get you heard in my title, they say I'm a CEO, ne? And I'm a CEO of one of the biggest NGOs in South Africa. Our NGO is 31 years old. We are one of those that are still standing, even after Trump has done what Trump has done, right? Because leading is something that we are born with. Kibwale young women, this session is specifically for them. Brothers, you can take notes for yourself. We are not selfish. We can share. But I want a young woman who sits there, who says, already ke na le ba babedi bana. Right? Maybe we like terminate we 3. You are looking at yourself, judging yourself, because society does that. You don't need to do it. Society is already doing it to you. So don't give them that platform. Look at yourself, show yourself a lot of grace and a lot of love. I'm avoiding my notes because if I go into my notes, it will take time. But I have pointers that I wanted to share with you. 1, you are not too much. Please say it as a young woman. I am not too much. You are not too loud. Say it. You are not too loud. And you are not too ambitious. Say it. You have power, inherent power. You must know it, you must own it, and you must use it. Please, let's repeat. I have power. I must know it. I must own it. And I must use it. And how do you use that power? When you enter spaces, don't shrink yourself. Sometimes you want to say something, but because there's a hunky boy in the room, or there are women who look well put together, you keep quiet. There was a question asked earlier, who has solutions to the problems in their communities? Many of us do, but you don't have the confidence to say, I'm going to stand up and say, Vaal, I am the solution to the problem we face. So today I want you to leave this room believing that every problem that you come across is meant for you to solve it. The minute you see that problem, see it as something that you must go and change, right? We don't need more apps. We just need whole people. We need whole young women. We are too broken. Can we go and fix what has broken us? Go and look at it in the face and look at yourself and tell yourself that I belong. Can we repeat it as I wrap up? Say it with conviction and believe it. Say it with conviction and believe it. You don't need permission. We are asking for too much permission to exist. You don't need anybody's permission to exist. You have the power, know it, name it, and use it. Thank you.
Young girl, own it! Beautiful. We are moving on. I'm not wasting time. Opportunities, 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 opportunities galore are coming on stage. I want to introduce to you Mr. Ndlovu. He's a marketing officer of the Skills Development Corporation. He's here about free learnerships, real opportunities. This is your pathway to work readiness and employment. Put your hands together for Mr. Ndlovu. Boy, Abenyat.
A round of applause. A round of applause, everybody! Can you all please STC? ST? ST? Come on, I need more energy from you guys. These are learnerships. These are opportunities for you. ST? There we go. My name is Ndlovu, and I am the marketing officer from the Skills Development Corporation, right? Does anyone know STC? Please put up your hand if you know STC, and scream as loud as you can. There we go. There we go. All right, so I represent the Skills Development Corporation, and we deal with learnerships, right? We've processed over R1 billion worth of stipends. That means that 23,000 individuals, young people who were seated just like you today, actually have graduated. They heard about us through word of mouth, and they came to our campus and they applied, they did their interview, they did their assessment, they got 80% and above, and they started their learnership. They started a learnership for 12 months, right? Doing it and doing soft skills. I think you guys might have heard a few speakers just now who spoke about soft skills, right? So what is soft skills? Soft skills are courses like your cybersecurity, which is very much in demand at the moment, right? Your IT qualifications, it's your project management, your marketing, and your sales representative, right? We've got over 27 accredited courses where you can apply and become a learner and earn a what? A stipend. Who's earned a stipend before? Please put up your hand and make some noise if you've earned a stipend before. There we go. So I'm all about energy, guys. You need to have a positive mindset when you want opportunities to work out for you. So we've got about how many people in the room? Over 600, I might say. And let me tell you, one person's going to decide, Aish, I'm going to apply tomorrow. I'm not going to go to the stand today where they are. Because, Aish, maybe I can just go on Google and Google them and apply online. And then there's going to be the guy and the girl that we are looking for. The guy and the girl that's going to come to our store, that's going to think positively and say, mina noma kanjani. Anginayo any choice, I've tried everything, right? I'm still waiting on responses from Champela, where you've applied from. I'm still waiting for responses, right? So many responses, and I'm getting nothing back. But what you can do is ucele umama noma ucele uankeli for a nice transport money to be able to come through to Sandton, right? In Pozov, and come through to our campus and apply. But what's good about today, are you guys still with me? There we go. I love your energy, right? What's good about today is that you don't have to. You can just come to our store. We are right behind. You can come to our store, you register, you put your names down, and then you stand a chance to get yourself a learnership for 12 months, paid for. It's free for you, but it's paid for by our sponsors, right? All right, I also want to talk about mentorship that we have at our campus. We have a campus that takes 4,500 learners, right? Living with disability and also abled. We teach what disability means. For example, I'll speak about what we mentioned today, which is a bit about what a disability looks like. Can you see I'm wearing glasses? Can you guys see me? My wonderful glasses. I know I'm handsome and everything, but focus on the classes, right? The classes that I have, if, for example, I didn't afford to get classes, it would be an impairment, right? That would mean that there's a disability. So being disabled does not mean that it's only when you are physically disabled, but also mental issues. If you have depression and you've been unemployed for over a year, you must be going through a phase of disability, right? All right, so thank you so much, guys, for hearing me out. We want to have a presentation afterwards to the committee, EmpowaWorks, to say we've had so many people that are now on learnerships. Next year, we need testimonies that I must come up on stage with. Is it gonna be you? Is it gonna be you? Fantastic. STC, we're the difference. Please give me a round of applause. Thank you.
I always say, when the opportunities come, you must grab them. Ngezandla zombili. It's not all the time that you get an opportunity like this as Vaal to have people coming in to empower you. So, masipuma la kula ma exhibition stalls. Please go and engage. Those opportunities are there. I want you now to listen to me very carefully. Yeah. Yo, that was nice. So there is, you saw the tents, ne? There's a big tent here. We call them marquees. So let me speak right English. You saw the marquees outside. Eh? So there's a marquee here. There's another one here. What we're going to do now, this was main stage. It's changing. This is going to be track 1. This one. Ne? Lankutwa ne? Ke track 1. The other one, that side, ke track 2. Ne? And then the one behind you all, or on your side, is track 3. Now, track 1 is this one. This is the topic that's going to remain here. From survival to strength, building healthy, purpose-driven youth in a demanding world. If that resonates with you, you're going to stay here. From survival, teka, to health and strength, building healthy, purpose-driven youth in demanding world. You remain here. Track 2, it's that one, this side. Track 2, serving community, building careers, strengthening the nation. In a leadership, servitude. If you see yourself running an NPO, an NGO, running Soul City Institute, this is the one you go to. That side, ne? Track 2. Track 3, from CVs to capability, from hiring to thriving. If you see yourself plugging other young people to opportunities, you go to that one. I repeat, track 1, from survival to strength, building healthy, purpose-driven youth in a demanding world. Remain. Track 2, serving communities, building careers, strengthening the nation. You go to that side. The gentleman and the lady are waving. And then track 3, from CVs to capabilities, from hiring to thriving. Do we have somebody at the back at the door? I need someone there at the door to guide the young people at that door. You're going that way, they will show you where to go. So I'm going to ask, because Batuba Vaal banale order, believe in yourself, Obatung. Ali Kholwe. You must supposed to say yes, we've got order. Yes. Track 2. Can I ask all people who want to go to track 2 to stand up and just go and follow those ones to your side? Do note that we are still going to serve you lunch after these. So after these sessions, guys, after these sessions, we all are going to come back here. Do note.